Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. RFK Refugees Podcast. Ted here, John here. Always gotta blow out those headphones, John. You know how I roll.
Yeah,
you know how I roll.
It's nice. I'm slightly deaf. It's okay.
I just love opening up and just watching him go like, "Woo, what's that?" Anyway, we are live 8:30 p.m. Hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day, John. I hope your Memorial Day was good. Did you go to any cookouts, any events?
Yeah, I went to my mom's. For a barbecue. Saw my dad. Saw my child. Saw my parents. It was good. I made the hamburgers. I made the hot dogs. So they put me to work.
There you go. We took it easy. We did the trip back to Richmond, so we kind of took it easy this time. We just stayed in Lynchburg, hung out there. There were some events that were going on. I was driving around downtown, and I'm like, oh hey, look. There's some events, but I think we were kind of ready for a more relaxing weekend. So we used that extended break to recharge and everything. John, before we get into the show, I think it's appropriate that we do plug our contests.
Yeah, we got 1 day left. There's 1 day left.
Yeah, we got 1 day left. So last chance, last opportunity. We have had at least a couple entries that have happened. And if you're ever a Patreon subscriber and you're at that $5 level and you have not donated yet, please go donate. Please do it. Win a scarf, free scarf. Definitely do it. Also buy our scarves. If you don't want to enter the contest, that's fine. Buy our RFK Refugees scarf. We had a huge flurry of scarves at the beginning and the sales have kind of died down. So
I think they're going to pick up.
Jump on that.
I think they're going to pick up when it's not the summer. I'm hoping for a late season run into the playoffs where people are like, my neck is so cold. What will I do about this? And then we can really start making our money.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that I have to close Twitch now because I'm being mesmerized by the Pokemon card break channel. I didn't close it before the show started, and I kept getting distracted. So now you've got my full attention, show. Let's do this.
Let's do this. We are going to be having a very, very special guest join the show a little bit later in the evening, Jake Maxwell. They will be joining us to talk a little bit about their experience with the supporters culture in DC. So definitely stick around for that. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's talk. The DMV had quite the weekend. Sans Richmond. I don't know if Richmond counts DMV.
It does not.
But it does not. But it's close enough. I like to think it counts. Anyway, Richmond lost, but everybody else, DC United, Loudoun United, Washington Spirit, all picking up victories this weekend. The Washington Spirit are now in second place in the NWSL, which I saw that and was like, holy crap! And we haven't even played a home game yet. We have one registered home game, but haven't played a home game yet. So again, maybe we need to stop, making assumptions about these teams 1 week into the season. I think we never learn our lesson, do we? Never do.
It's very good that FanDuel does not allow NWSL betting because it wouldn't go well. It wouldn't go well. I don't think anyone had Orlando as the leader after 4 games. I know I didn't.
Yeah. No, I certainly didn't. Let's jump right into the first match of the fold. We're gonna go in chronological order.
Makes sense.
Chronological order. We're gonna start with DC United picking up a dominating 3-0 victory on the road at Inter Miami, their first road game of the season. This game was quite incredible. It was quite incredible to watch. This was the game I think we've been kind of waiting for in our Milan Lasada system. I looked at the XG, and we're always going to talk. We're always going to talk XG. 1.9 XG for DCU to Miami's 0.8.
Wow.
So that sort of simple, and they scored 3 goals. So that shows you what expected goals can do. They've tucked away at 1 extra goal the XG said they shouldn't have gotten. So, John, give me some opening thoughts of your game. Anything that stood out to you in this match.
Yeah, I think I had an opportunity to watch the Inter Miami press ahead of the game, leading up to it, and I had an opportunity to look at some of the dialogue around the team from the fans just to get an idea because we haven't seen them this year, and the book on them is that they're lazy. And that they're not fully motivated right now, and they're not playing at their best quite clearly, and they are defensively lazy. That's a well put intelligence report on them, if you look at the first 2 goals, it's just lack of effort in a lot of ways. It's poor defensive effort, and DC United capitalizing both times. The third goal happens because you're chasing the game, and it's late in the second half. But I think that the press that first half was the ideal outcome for Losada Ball's press. That's why you do it. You do it because it puts the back line, the goalie, the defenders into positions where they're going to get tired and make mistakes. They're going to give the ball up, and you're going to have a lot more opportunities than you otherwise would have in the attacking part of the field. So I think that is what you can expect when things go right. I think that's what you can expect when the team can't really cope with what you're trying to do. They made an adjustment. I know that Hernan said he was surprised that they came out differently than they had played all season, than they had prepared for, and it didn't matter. DC United, the principal thing for Hernan says, we're going to play our game no matter who we're playing against, no matter where we're playing it. You're going to see this team do this. And the fact where a team that he looked at, he's like, look at this roster, look at the names on this roster, and they saw us and said, we got to change everything the way we're doing. So that was to him a sign that we were going to win. He's like, I saw that and I said, oh, we're going to win tonight. And it's also a sign that things are improving for this club. I don't think teams in the past 10 years necessarily looked, they knew what they were going to get from DC United, but it didn't necessarily cause them to change whatever they were going to do. They just, it was just an effort thing. So from, all 360 there, it's a great outcome for DC United. It's a real big bummer that they've got 2 weeks now where they're not playing. But let's talk about the specifics here and some of the players that had really outstanding performances.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And I think maybe the reason we saw Miami, just real quick, I want to say the reason we saw Miami, I think, change their play was because I think they were trying to. They don't have the defensive skill like some of the other teams to play the way that, to line up the way they wanted to and then sit back and absorb pressure. So I think they tried to compensate for DC's press by basically allowing them to have the ball. And it just didn't work at all for Inter Miami. And have to wonder if any of those sanctions might be playing into some heads about some guys maybe on option years, things like that. That can have an impact. So, but let's talk about DC. Let's talk about some of the dominating players. Paul Arriola had himself a game.
Inter Miami is definitely going to take the draft seriously next year, I think, as well.
Oh yeah. Probably. Yeah. But first of all, Paul Arriola had an absolutely fantastic game. I think he had the game. We were all talking about. I think you brought up. We talked about the injury to Edison Flores, which may be the only good thing about the break is that Edison Flores is not going to miss maybe not considerably more time. Be curious to see what his track record and sort of getting him back on the field is going to be. But you talked about earlier. You said we need Paul Arriola. This is where Paul Arriola comes in. This is where he needs to show up. And show up he did. He was absolutely phenomenal. He was bombing down on his offensive position. He was linking up with Julian Gressel. Julian Gressel also had, I think, one of his best games of the season. Sort of in that link-up play, played some nice service in. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't fantastic, but it was sort of a good sign of things to come. And Kevin Paredes, I think, had another strong game. Offensively, he still needs to get there, but I think he showed that he can give maybe a little bit of a different look than Joseph Mora.
Yeah, Kevin had his good chance on goal, and he just fluffed it. I think he got in his head, and he just crushed it over the bar. That is the weak part of his game, right? I think everything up until the final third, plays well above his age. He plays, MLS ready, and then he gets into the 18, and it just falls apart. For Paul, I had a chance to talk to him after the game, and I asked him about, this is the position he likes to play. This is where he always has said that he prefers to be. He didn't want to be a right wing back. He wants to be as close to goal as possible. And he was like, yeah, no, that's absolutely the case. Like I'll play where I have to play for the team, but this is where he was basically like, yeah, I have grit. Yeah, I will run for you. Yeah, I will do all these things. But where I want to be is in front of goal, and you can see what I have. You can see my skill and the end product there. So I think that's the fortuitous thing about Edison getting injured, if there's anything, because that's his spot. Otherwise, where else are you going to put him? He's played on the wing a little bit. I don't think he's very good out there. I think that in the middle of the field is where he needs to be. that just means that Paul can't play there. So for the next, however many games, you're going to get to see Paul in probably what is his best position. And Joshua Morgan on the chat says Kevin is the best 17-year-old in the league. I think, potentially. I think that that's holding him back as a player, as a left wing back in this system. I think he needs to be a little bit more composed in the last part of the field. So if he gets there, then we're really talking about something. Then he's a starter. Then Joseph Mora is not going to hit the field again at all, and that's just going to be the way it is. But until that, it's still unfinished product. I think uncompleted.
Yeah, and I would contend a little bit with Joshua Morgan's message there, just by saying that there is a Moses Nyman out there who showed very, very well. He did not make the field today. It was the combination that we all thought would be the combination of this team going forward before Moses Nyman started to play well in Junior Moreno and Russell Canouse. Russell Canouse, I thought it was a little bit of a down game when he sort of came back. This was a really good performance, I thought, from him. He creates for the first goal, applies the pressure like we expect him to, and then manages to find, either fortuitously or otherwise, finds Ola Kamara with just acres of space. He could have had time to, pull his phone out, take a panorama of the whole stadium, maybe pull out a cue card or such and start writing down, where he wants to place the ball, just loads of time. But he finishes it, and he does it well, and that's kind of the thing we've been waiting for from Ola Kamara. If they can get him going, as they say, this team might have something.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it 100,000 times. Without a forward that finishes these chances, the system doesn't work. You're not going to win without someone that converts those chances, and it's all about confidence, right? And this is got to feel good. This has got to feel vindicated. I'm sure, if you watch his body language on the field, maybe I misread it. Maybe he's always had the confidence. He's very upset when he doesn't get the service he wants. Maybe he's basically like, he had the arms out celebration after he scored. Maybe he's finally like, I could always do this. I just haven't gotten what I needed out of it. So, and now I'm getting that. I know, whatever, fine. I don't care, man. Score those goals, and you could do whatever celebration you want, and we're all going to be happy about it.
The great carpenter blames his tools, right? That's the old. It's never his fault. It's his tool's fault. So I think that's. But I mean, I think it's good to see him get a goal. I think it's great. Go ahead.
No, I was saying dose to get dose.
He got 2 goals, yes. But let's talk about the second goal, obviously from Paul Arriola, finishing from a tiny goal. And I think you did talk about the idea of Paul Arriola being more up front. The finishing part of his game has been something that has been kind of lacking as of late. He's had a couple goals, a couple good moments, but I think that was always been kind of the criticism. He does everything else very well, but then when he gets in front of in front of the goal, he can't seem to put it in, finish it off and put it in the back of the net. We saw in the U.S. national team that narrative was starting to change, and I think this game, from an incredibly tight angle, he finds a way to fit the ball in and put it in the back of the net. So a great goal from him. Adrian Perez also, Shugano makes a nice run on the end line and gets the assist there as well. So
Ola also part of the build-up play there.
Yep.
So that off of a throw-in. So that was Miami switching off and Paul taking advantage of a situation there from a very acute angle. So you got to be happy with it. That's 2-0, I believe, by the 25th minute. What was the minute on that? Do we know? It was early.
It was 25th, I believe. Yes, correct.
So at that point, you're like, this game is probably almost dead. We said the next goal kills it, and was wondering about where it was going to go, but it didn't come for a while.
Yeah, it didn't come, I believe, until around the 70th minute. DC kind of stood back a little bit, but I mean, I talked earlier about how is this team going to handle Federico Higuain, Gonzalo Higuain? How are they going to sort of contain those two players? Federico Higuain on the bench, by the way. Which I didn't realize. I actually do not remember much he did in this game. He
kicked the S out of Paul Arriola twice, and then stood on him, and then Paul gave him a little pat on the back as he walked away. That's like about all he did.
Yeah. So I mean, credit to DC, their press defensively. Andy Nahar again. Another strong performance at center back. Both Donovan Pines and Andy Nahar had moments today. I can't remember much from Brendan Hines-Ike, but Andy Nahar bodying off Gonzalo Higuain was super fun to see. Donovan Pines had his dribbling moment, his little like dribbling skill to open up an opportunity. So I think what you're seeing out of this team is you're seeing, when this system's worked, you're seeing defenders getting involved. You're seeing tons of offense. There's not a sit back offensive play, even though the team did sort of maybe pull back a little bit, sort of maybe absorb a little bit of pressure. They then get a quick break, and then it becomes a really nice cross from Paul Arriola, finds Ola Kamara. Beautiful service to him, and that's what you need to see. This team's going to be successful. If Ola Kamara is going to be successful, this team needs to, when he's out there on the field, the team needs to find a way to get him service. And if he can get that confidence and get those goals, then suddenly we have something here.
Yeah, just to go back on Pines proving why he was plus 1,200 to score on a ball that rolled out to him from about 10 yards, where he just he Junior Moreno'd it into the stratosphere, unfortunately. So that was a bummer, because that was I was like, because I already had Paul to score, so I was just like, I am the rainmaker. Let's do this, and then that happened. But either way, like you said, great performance. This lineup was exciting. It's a couple days ago now, but it was just such a positive thing. And and let's talk about it. There are people who are, and I'm even talking about beyond the normal sort of like rain cloud folks. There are people that are looking at this as an indictment of Miami and not DC United. You're wrong. Yeah. It's not that. Like, this is DC United got what they deserved for one of the first times this season. That's what this is about. To me.
So just to add, I guess a little bit to that. I think the argument has sort of been brought up. Is this an indictment on Miami, or is this I will say this, or is this a statement on DC? And I will say this: if DC goes out like they did in the Chicago game and they just kind of grind it out, 1-0 victory, I don't think we're complaining. I don't think we're being, like, oh man, oh, what a horrible game. I think we're saying, hey, good 3 points on the road. That's great. Let's move on. But when you are clearly the better team on the field and you punish them the way you do, that is worthy of a mention, because it shows that you are not playing down to your opponent, to when your opponent is better. You are taking advantage of the fact that they're not a good team and making them pay for it. And all of those things are incredibly important for a team to do. I'm not saying that this team is going to be, suddenly, oh, we're the best team in the East. Far from it. I mean, let's wait till if we can do this on a Philly, on a New England, on a Columbus, okay, then maybe we can start thinking those things. But right now, like, we're looking at, what's the level of this team? Where is this team's level? And again, Hernan is doing this all with players he had no business in selecting. These are every single player on that roster today was a player from 2020. And he is figuring out a way to make it work. He's figuring out a way to motivate them. It's incredibly impressive the way he's sort of gotten this team to buy into this system. And we saw it. We're starting to see the fruits of the labor. And that's a very, very good thing to see. So
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So I wanted to add a little bit because, it is worth mentioning that, yes, Miami's a bad team. You don't want to discount that, but there's a bigger story here than that. So we should maybe mention, because we do this, yes, we only do this when they win, our Hustle and Hernans of the match, which, John, you really got to get on those. When you get those questions and we got a player up there, you got to mention that they won the award. Come on.
No,
man.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It feels too cheesy. I think about it every time, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't.
Oh, okay.
It lives only in our Twitter universe. Like, all of you guys, all of you listeners, it matters to you. I'm not going to tell Paul he won the Hustle or not. I can't do it.
Got Patreons. Give us some more money, and maybe we can get a trophy or something.
Yeah. If you want to buy my pride, we could do that. But right now, currently, the price is too high for me to talk about Hustle or not on the post game.
So now, Ola Kamara and Paul Arriola both are Hustle and Hernans. Our first tie in the long history of the Hustle and Hernan.
That's right.
Whole 3 games that we've done this. Yes, we will probably only do it if they win. Maybe a draw. We'll see.
We haven't yet.
But then
they haven't yet. So I guess they haven't.
Yeah, as we discussed, DC United are now on a 20-day break. Jeez, yeah, I'm looking at like long break, international break. They do not play again at home to Inter Miami. So a chance for a 6-point swing for DC United against Inter Miami. We'll see it. We'll see if there's any improvement. It'll be interesting to see if not only if DC got this win, but can they do it again in front of their home fans.
Also interesting will be, what is the money line? What is the bet on the rematch after 2 weeks? Something interesting only to me. Will I bet again? Yeah, I'm gonna bet again on DC United. I'm gonna come out behind on the year, but I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. What's money?
Yeah, it's all fun.
It's all fun.
All right, let's talk next. We got the Washington Spirit picking up the second one of our trifecta of home wins. We're gonna start. We're not going chronologically with this because we got a guest coming up, and as much as we want to talk Loudoun United, I think we do want to talk Spirit, and we do want to talk about their 1-0 victory. Probably maybe a more impressive victory than DC because they were certainly not favored in this game. They were on the back foot constantly, but I think there were some notable performances despite no Spirit player being on the score sheet. There were some very notable performances.
Yeah, quickly for Loudoun. Go listen to Too Loud Adams if you want to listen to Loudoun United. The 30-second view is 3 DC United loanees started. One of them scored. There was a red card, and J4 to save the game in the 90th minute. And they're playing on Wednesday.
Yes.
Now we talk about Spirit.
And Boulevard had a really nice goal.
That was a nice goal. All right,
yeah,
so Spirit. So we had I also had the characterization of they were in trouble in the first half. Mm-hmm. I said that to Richie. Richie was like, no, that's not what it was. We let them have the ball. We controlled where they had the ball. We did not allow them to have it in dangerous positions. And if you look at the XG, correct. They did not. There were not much of a, some chances here or there, but the Spirit had them where they wanted them. In the second half, they turned it around. Ashley Sanchez is turning. Each game she's getting better. Every game we talk about the fact that she has a moment of magic. She'll do something that is unexpected and impossible to defend, but she'll have periods of the game where she disappears. This game was a nearly complete game. I don't want to say 10 out of 10. She still has some things to improve, but just phenomenal overall performance. But what? I was just going to say we could talk about so many things here, but I think that the overall story here is overcoming adversity. Second game on the road in the course of Wednesday and Sunday. So you do the math on that 4 days.
Yeah, and I found it interesting. They talked about on the broadcast. They talked about the travel schedule that the Spirit endured. Basically, I thought for sure I was like, oh, they'll probably just stay in Houston and then fly to. That makes the most sense. Like you stay, you figure out a practice facility. Maybe you have a practice day. Maybe you have a rest day. Nope. Apparently, they flew right back to DC, and then they flew right. Then they had a day, and then they went to Tacoma. So that right there is that's putting on miles, and they're certainly not flying first class for sure. So that's got to put some miles on the Spirit legs, and the fact that they were able to kind of keep Roosevelt off the score sheet, though she did have a nice run where she laid off a ball that should have been the opening goal, I think, for the Reign. If I forget the player who finished it, but if she stays on side. That's a goal, and we're probably 1-0 Reign, and maybe talking about a different game.
Yeah, it was Ziara King was the offside player on that. Also, if we look at that lineup, when it came out, I said, we already were sort of looking at Reign as the favorite just on the fact that they were on short rest. They're flying across the country again. No Andy Sullivan due to a red card, which was whatever. Their attacking lineup is ridiculous. Huerta, King, Rapinoe, Lavelle, Fishlock. That's ridiculous. That's an extremely deep and talented offense, and they were able to neutralize it so well without their captain, without their main defensive midfielder, with Paige Nielsen out injured, with a lot of these players carrying sort of small injuries over they just from a systems perspective, shut them down and did not allow them to be dangerous.
And generated their own chances. I mean, Ashley Sanchez nearly has a really another sort of highlight reel goal over the top, a great save. I believe they had an open net where the ball hit the crossbar at one point.
That was Ashley Sanchez. Ashley hit a header right at the goalie. She hit the underside of the crossbar, and then she hit one over. I think Hatch had an opportunity on a breakaway where she tried to bend it over. Or was that that might have been Sanchez too. The story here is they had a number of opportunities. The scoreline could have been way different, but it was never going to be the rain, which was just not the way this game should have come to be based on all of the factors that we already talked about. But just an amazing performance for this team. They finally get to go home. They finally get to have a full week where they're not traveling through time zones. Andy Sullivan will be back. I'm not sure. We have to find out what the rest of the injury picture looks like. But overall, Rose Lavelle was largely neutralized. We asked who did we ask? Emily Sonnet in the post game about Rose, and Rose was like, they were like, Rose had a great game, and Emily was like, well, she didn't score, did she? I didn't miss that. No goals, right? Okay, so I guess we did all right.
No, I
go ahead.
I am convinced that Richie Burke is using a bit of motivational psychology on Ashley Sanchez. I posted on Twitter because Rich has been talking up Rose Lavelle. I mean, that's been sort of the storyline of this game. I have in the show notes here. It's the thanks we hate it, thanks I hate it game, or the Rose Lavelle Cassico if you're a sociopath, because that's what I think you are if you call it this, because it makes me sad and makes me hate myself that she's not playing for the Spirit. But I think Richie Burke has been kind of talking up Rose Lavelle the entire time. And so I posted the Jordan meme and I took that personally. So I'm wondering if maybe Richie Burke using some psychology, because there were some runs that Ashley Sanchez was making in this game from the midfield. And they were almost identical to what Rose Lavelle was doing in this game. So there was a lot of that going on. Again, like you said, she had a great game. Just wanted to drop that in there.
Yeah,
some coach.
I think for me too. I think now that this happened and the game is over and we won, I can be over it a little bit. I was still sour grapes. I was in my head thinking, well, U.S. Soccer surely won't let her play more than 30 minutes in this game because that's what happens and the world is unfair and stupid. But I think now we're okay. I think we've moved on. The Spirit have shown they are a fully functional team with or without Rose Lavelle, who is, as said, probably one of the best 2 or 3 players in the world. Trying to think, I wanted to see if I go through any other elements here. We've got the international break coming on this side as well. I'm not sure when the departure date is, but again, Kelly O'Hara, Emily Sonnet, and Andy Sullivan all will be going to international duty. Hopingly Paige Nielsen recovers, because the center line, I think probably, I'm not sure if Saori Takarada also will be going. I'm not sure if Japan is playing games, but the center back could be a position of concern. Tori Huster will go back to right back, I assume. This team is very promising. Kumi Yokoyama, somewhat anonymous, I think, for this game. She has yet to really put a stamp on any of the games that she's played in so far. I think that's just the way that goes sometimes. I think maybe it's formation change or whatever it is. But Trinity Rodman had an opportunity in the second half. Not her best game, but she did still continue to do what she does. She got on the ball. She made some problems for the Reign.
I mean, I think you got to look at when she was subbed in at the second half when the team already had a lead. Yep. And was basically just trying to hold on to that lead. That's not a situation where you really will see the most effective of Trinity Rodman. But she still did, I thought, very well in showing that she maybe she has a moment, I think, late in the game where she could have maybe dribbled towards goal, create an opportunity. She takes it to the corner. She tries to basically burn off time, burn off minutes. That's a veteran move for a young player, and that's something you like to see. You like to see players understand that the win here is more important than maybe personal glory. So that's certainly a good thing to see.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking at the bench here, Tegan McGrady has not been playing a lot this season. She's going to, I think, get her opportunity. There's been some fans outspoken about the fact that Tegan's not playing. I get it. I think Tegan's fantastic and also was very good in the Challenge Cup. I think you're about to see her a lot more here as international break happens. Jordan DiBiase is another player who you'll see more and more of. this team is pretty deep. This team is something that to be concerned about. Second place is, I don't think, a mirage, and this team still hasn't played a home game yet. And this team, there's a lot of things sort of stacked against them so far. So be excited about this team. And if you're local and you want to, and you feel like it, come out to Audi Field on Sunday in the afternoon. Great afternoon opportunity. I'll be there. Come wave at the press booth, and I'll wave back at you. But I think that's probably about all we wanted to talk about for this game.
Yeah, they're second place, man. They are second place in the NWSL right now. It's hard to believe that, and they've played 0 home games. I think that is every reason to get excited about this team. This team hasn't really even had an opportunity to be at home, to be comfortable, to be in front of fans at Audi Field or Segra Field. Once all that gets complete and everything, hopefully, please let it be soon. But I think that's worth mentioning, and certainly a good result for the team, that they are able to sort of pick themselves up after maybe a little bit of a slow start to the year. I think that's gonna tie a bow in that game. By the way, if you want to get in, call into the show. I don't have the number in front of me right now. Someone wants to
202-709-8441. Particularly if you want to talk Spirit. We've not had an opportunity to have any Spirit callers except for maybe my friend Matt. Mm-hmm. Matt, if you're listening, you want to talk Spirit, that'd be great. Douglas, you want to come call in? I think that they are, all the teams right now are hitting on all cylinders right now. I would not say Loudoun is hitting on all cylinders, but an away win against a good team in front of a full stadium in New Mexico is something. It's something.
Yeah. And another thing, I lost myself a little bit on the Spirit. I think what we're seeing from the Spirit is we're seeing we're seeing what Richie Burke is trying to do. He's concerning himself. I think he's taking if y'all watch the movie Miracle, if y'all ever watched that movie, I can't remember who the coach's name, but he talks about how, he picks his roster. He said, "This is my lineup." And everybody's like, "Oh, you're leaving off the best players." And he's like, "I'm not looking for the best ones. I'm looking for the right ones." And that's kind of what it feels like with the Spirit. These aren't the, maybe other than Kelly O'Hara and Emily Sonnet, there's some up and coming stars, but it seems like what he's trying to do is say, I want to build a team. I want to build a team that's going to be good, year in and year out. And so I feel like maybe, if we have a piece that can fit in and they're, a world talent or a world star, sure, let's bring them in. But, hey, I'm not concerning myself with that. I want, when Roosevelt leaves, Bridgie Burke is like, look, I think we can build something better. And I'm looking at the draft. I think Trinity Rodman, Ashley Sanchez can pick up that. And I think after this game, he seems to be proven right in what he's doing. So I've been very impressed with what Richie Burke has done. I was upset about the Roosevelt trade, but I was not. I was like, if U.S. Soccer keeps imposing these restrictions, yeah, it's great to have her out there. But if we keep getting these, playtime restrictions, if she's not even able to really be a part of this team, I'd much rather have 2 or 3 other players. So, I think the team, we'll see. Maybe I could end up proven wrong towards the end of the season. Maybe U.S. Soccer decides, we'll let Rose play whenever she wants. But I think it should be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, was it Herb Brooks? Was that the coach's name?
Herb Brooks, yes, correct. I was like, "Oh, the rain coach?" No, it was Herb Brooks. Yes, that is the coach's name. But yes, good hockey movie if y'all want to check it out. Let us know your sports movies that you love. I still have not seen. I still have not had the opportunity to watch Ted Lasso.
Ted, what are you doing, man?
What are you doing? I need to get on it.
Ted, it is my literal favorite television show of all time.
Well, now I got a 2 week international break, so soccer's gonna die down a bit. So maybe I've got an opportunity to catch some things. I'm a busy man, John. I'm a busy man.
I understand. There's just no time in the day or the evening to watch a 25-minute episode of a TV show. I understand. The announcer for the Spirit game was having a rough one. There was some name butcherings worse than ours, like, on a level higher. Tori Houston was a name said. Karen Bardsley, after I believe her hamstring jumped off of her leg, the announcer's like, and they don't have a backup keeper on the bench. They didn't name one, and then of course there was in fact a backup keeper. They didn't have to put. I got excited because like field player in net. Oh baby, this is what I'm talking about. But no.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if the announcers are at the game or if they're calling from a monitor. Maybe that makes it difficult.
I think they're at the game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the announcing was a bit rough, and also, I mean, I gotta ask NWSL, can we please there was something with the contrast. It made it really hard to tell players.
It's always
yeah,
NWSL. I don't know if it's angles. I don't know if they're not necessarily at the same sort of resolution as some of the other as MLS games. It's not very good. Well, it doesn't matter if it's on CBS Sportsnet or Paramount Plus or Twitch. It's just not. It's not as the fidelity is not as high as it would be otherwise. And I really wish they'd fix that. I'll pay even more. Yeah. I'll play Paramount Plus if you get 4K.
Plus for. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you made a mistake on that. I think it was someone else on that Ashley, the shot that hit the crossbar. I believe we thought it was Ashley Sanchez, but I think it ended up being
Dorian Bailey. Dorian
Bailey. Yes, yeah. So I heard that and I was like, I thought it was somebody different, but yes. We can. You know what? We got a few more minutes on the show. Let's. I do want to dive in a little bit. I know we just talked about DC and Inter Miami. But I do want to dive in a little bit on the sanctions we just got from speaking from a broadly an MLS perspective. I think we definitely didn't touch it on Thursday. We asked our guest about it for that show, but we didn't really touch on it. And I do think it's worth bringing up because when that news dropped, I think there were a lot of things. First of all, the fines to the owners to whatever, that's all good. The banning of the GM at the time, who actually is now working at Atlanta and then had to drop out. The most amazing thing about this was not only did they have an extra DP, they had two extra. They did a audit of their roster and they said, oh, you guys actually had 5 designated players, and so they are hitting Inter Miami. I think the most significant part about this is the $2.2 million in allocation. That is absolutely devastating on many, many fronts. I think it's for the 2023 season, so it's over 2 seasons that they are going to have this allocation deficit. And I know in the global game of football that might not sound like, wow, $2 million. What is that? That's a pretty significant chunk of change for Inter Miami, and I think it's something that I think basically this is the MLS, F around and find out, basically. Like, was their message to this? And I think it's a warning to any other, GM, anyone else who tries to play fast and loose with contracts and benefits and other things. I think that is something that's going to be very significant in the future. And everybody loves to talk about the Galaxy and loves to talk about, what the Galaxy do and how they sort of play by the rules. Hey, at least they're open and honest. They had 4 DPs and they basically said, hey, MLS, can you change the rules for us? And MLS is like, no, we're not going to change the rule. Okay, that's fine. We'll sell him. We'll figure it out. But this was clearly like, this would be like if they had Giovanni and then they came out and said, oh, by the way, Giovanni Dos Santos is now a TAM player. So we only have 3 DPs and we're going to keep going. And, and then someone said, hold on a minute, let's actually take a look at that. So I would love to know what was hidden, who was the driving force behind it, like everything. Like this calls into question. I believe it was Paul McDonough, I believe.
Yep.
Was the GM. His time in Atlanta, were there things going on in Atlanta maybe that we're going to find out? I mean, we already got that Great Athletic article. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think there was speculation that this is, if you looked at anyone's books that close, you'd find the same problems. I don't think that's true. I think this is contained.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to hit a home run here based on all of the delays they had to get the team up and running, and I think they just sort of didn't think they'd get caught, and they did. They got their hands caught in the cookie jar. So you're right. Like the $2 million does not sound like a large number, but in a salary capped league like this one, where it's exponentially more, makes it more challenging to build a roster, particularly if you want to continue to have 3 designated players, which you will have. So good luck to them. I think they're gonna have to seriously for the next year probably be looking at draft players, be looking at young young players, and they deserve it.
This generation Adidas contracts are going to
they're going to sign 6 of them.
Super. Yeah. They're going to draw. Okay, they're basically going to go down the roster and be like, all right, we can trade all this, and it impacts your ability to trade for talent. If you need if you want to go grab an MLS talent, a big time talent, you loses your ability to trade those allocation monies. It's significant on a lot of ways, and I have to wonder. I hinted a little bit at the beginning of the show. If you're a player now who has an option, on their contract where maybe they get an extra, 500,000, 600,000, what have you, then you're looking at this and saying, I might not get that option because this team doesn't have the money to maybe buy down my contract to pay that. I'd be curious. I think a lot of the salary structures are 3 years, so maybe they're not quite there yet. But I mean, this is going to start to impact. There are going to be some players, I think, from Inter Miami that are going to start getting traded because their contracts are too rich and they know they're getting that salary cap hit. I believe we now have our guest joining the show. We have Jake Maxwell join the show. Jake, welcome in.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. I'll let you have the floor, man. Just jump right into it. You asked to come on the show to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the supporter section from your perspective. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah. So just like to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown about a little bit about me. So I'm a member of the District Ultras. I have been since I was about 17 years old. Mostly though, I wanted to talk about what happened most recently, as you guys know, with the incident that happened in the last 3 games. And I'm going to apologize for the noise real quick. Tried to butt a quiet area, but basically, as far as we're concerned, and as far as what we know, I know that the Ultras, as well as all the groups, have a zero tolerance policy for what happened. And we're working to try to make it better. But unfortunately, with the supporter section, right, it's kind of its own animal. You guys, I'm sure, have been there, and you guys have seen how it's evolved over the years. And when we get into the situation where people get really, really drunk, we kind of find ourselves asking, what can we do to fix it? So I can tell you that the supporters are all working collectively to try to fix it. And I've spoken with Sam and I've spoken with a lot of Screaming Eagles. And the general consensus overall is that what we have right now isn't working. We are now moving into the phase of how can we fix it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's good news for a lot of people. What can the non-leadership members of the groups and sort of unaffiliated supporters do in the short term to help sort of fix this problem? Is there a role for them? Is there something that people who are interested in making things better, what should they do? Do you have any ideas?
For sure. Yeah. So basically, the biggest thing we can do collectively right now is if you see something going on like homophobia or racism or sexism or anything like that, call it out and let leadership in the section know. Because if we know about it, we can address it. But what we don't know about, we can't fix, right? So essentially, the supporter section is welcoming to everybody, and we need everybody to play their part, whether it's seeing something or even just calling something out. Like, myself being pansexual and non-binary, using they, them pronouns, I've had times where I've struggled to feel welcome in the supporter section. But overall, the biggest thing I've learned is that when somebody says something that makes me uncomfortable is to call it out and then address it with leadership at a later date. As far as other things, suggestions, because, we've had the same leadership of all the groups, right, for the last 10, 15 years. So getting new voices in, getting new questions in, getting new ideas in, all that can help us make a better section. So I would say if anybody has ideas, we're all welcome to them, because at this point, we want to make this the most enjoyable experience for everybody. And I think that's generally what we want to do.
What do you think about some of the I think there was a thread that James Lambert had a couple days ago. Time is flat. Where he was talking about sort of some of the solutions. He was talking about a supporters-led council and sort of non-leadership, non-officially sanctioned, just other supporters that are out there and want to make things better. I've seen that in a couple of different places other than him. And I've actually heard it talked about even before when the stadium opened, and there were all the issues surrounding that opening. That was sort of the idea, not necessarily an ombudsman, but some sort of external third party that can help not necessarily handles disputes, but be a convening opportunity for different groups to talk to each other and sort of get away from the I think the traditional relationship problems that some individuals have. Does that sound to you like something that is possible or necessary, or do you think that maybe misses the mark on fixing the problem?
So I think that is a step in the right direction, right? Because, and I want to make a disclaimer that I don't speak on behalf of the Ultras, just so you guys know, but I am an Ultra, but I wanted to make that clear. What I would say is that essentially what we're looking at is maybe something like a supporters council or some, like you said, intermediary council, or either an umbrella organization that everybody falls under during game day with leadership from all the groups. Something so that open communication is happening, because what's happening right now is we get everybody in the section and, nobody talks to each other, and we kind of get these four fractured groups, but we're all there to do the same thing, essentially, which is support the team and create the best environment. And you saw that in Miami. In Miami, we functioned as a unit, all of our groups collectively together, and we won the game, and there was one minor incident, but it can be done. The groups can work together. It's just a matter of getting everybody on the same page and figuring out how do we best accomplish that. So I think something like an umbrella organization can work. I think something like leadership council could work. I think there are a lot of good options, but I think the leadership of all the groups has to come to the table, right? And it has to come to the table with an open mind. Otherwise, we're just going to find ourselves where we are now, because, again, what we have now is not working. And you can see that it's not working because it wasn't just one game. It wasn't just two games. It's now been 3 consecutive games where we've had an issue. And at a certain point, you got to kind of look at yourself and recognize that there is a problem and that it needs to be fixed.
Jake, I wonder if you could talk a little bit. I mean, you said you had a pretty positive experience over at the Miami game. What specifically about that do you think maybe made that work where it's not working in the home games?
Yeah, so I think what ended up happening in Miami is that, so it's a smaller group, right? And a lot of the normal leadership from the other groups wasn't in Miami, and we had a lot of Atlanta, we had a lot of Ultras, we had a lot of everybody. But collectively, we walked in together, and then in the section, we just kind of communicated. And there was a homophobic chant at one point, but it was immediately snuffed out by La Banda, immediately killed that off, instantly. And then, we had one guy throw a beer can, and we dealt with that immediately. And after that, there was no issues. But I think the difference is that on the road in a smaller setting, we had more control over who was in that section. We were able to police ourselves. And more importantly, everybody was forced to talk to each other, because when you go on the road, it's a very different setting from at home. You're a lot more strict, and they don't give you a lot of wiggle room. So our groups, we worked together, we spoke together, and I think overall it was just the concept going in that we spoke before going into the game. The agreement was we're going to go in there and we're going to put on a good showing for DC, because we knew how important the game was, and obviously I think that showed.
You helped build them on to a great 3-0 victory. I'm sure that's a lot of fun. I love road wins. I think home wins are fun, I guess, from an atmosphere perspective. But nothing's quite like watching your team walk into an opposing force and come out with 3 points. That's usually something pretty special.
And getting yelled at by their home supporters is always fun. I've enjoyed that part.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, overall, the environment in Miami, I have to say, was really cool. Their fans are incredibly cool and awesome. Their stadium's really great with the league. But I would say there is just nothing, exactly like you said, like going on the road and winning on the road. It's just, there's something special about it, and it just makes you feel good that you traveled 16 hours to see a win as opposed to a loss. Because a 16-hour drive after a loss is not a fun drive.
No, not at all.
I've done those. No,
Jake. I was gonna say we appreciate you calling in. If anyone wants to talk to you about this, where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, I'm at DJ Jake Maxwell on Twitter. Honestly, I would say all the groups we want feedback. We want to fix this, so don't be afraid to reach out to us or anybody really. I can tell you that I will say one thing. I can't announce what we're doing yet, but that there is in the works. Myself and the team are working on something new, specifically regarding LGBTQ supporters. I can't go into more detail than that, but we are going to be announcing that hopefully sometime in Pride Month. So like I said, there is an open place and an open forum for anybody that wants to make the stadium better. And I think that's what we all want right now.
Absolutely. Jake, we'll let you go. Go enjoy the Wizards game. I understand that's where you are right now. So
Yeah. Thanks, guys. All right, you have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Jake Maxwell joined the show, and I think they brought up some good things, and it's good to see those conversations happening for sure. So I think that's great to see. So hopefully it continues.
Yes, and let's also hope for because no DC United, but Loudoun United is playing on Wednesday, and the Spirit have their home opener on Sunday. Let's hope for another 6-point week. I think it's entirely possible. Even though Orlando's a tough test for the Spirit, I think the Spirit have shown that it's anybody's game. No matter who's out there, Andy Sullivan's back in the field, so yeah. I'm positive about it. I'm thinking 6 points.
Very positive. Also positive. I'm positive about Loudoun United. You know what? We've been kind of down on them. I hope they can pick up 3 points in this game. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. You guys are incredible, awesome. We really enjoy doing the show for you all. We're working on how we're going to do with the break. Obviously, we've got Spirit, we've got Loudoun, we've got Nations League with the U.S. men's national team. We'll probably touch on that a little bit. But guys, we didn't touch on the friendly. I didn't watch the friendly. People overreact to friendlies way too much. Guys, chill out. It's a friendly. It's an exhibition. Relax. Breathe in, breathe out. It's going to be okay.
We're giving it exactly the amount of coverage it deserves.
Exactly. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. We will catch you guys down the road. Vamos.